some news, more news. Hello and welcome back to Alex's F1 chat number 4. I'm gonna start numbering these now as I've done a few, and then, to be honest, they're quite fun to make. Still working on that one video though that does need to be made in the future, just waiting for one little adapter to turn up, and that should come out the next couple of weeks. But we have had some more breaking news come through. It is, of course, that Formula One has launched a virtual Grand Prix series to replace the postponed and cancelled Grand Prix of this year. So as we move on into the Formula One website, of course, getting all the official gossip. Only one website today and a tweet. I've sort of done a little reading behind this, so I know what I'm talking about. It's not just like the last one, which was slapped together and I didn't realise what was coming up when. As we have Formula One launches the virtual Grand Prix series to replace the postponed races, and that was a breaking news story which again I received on my phone. Formula One today has announced the launch of a new F1 Esports virtual Grand Prix series featuring a number of the current F1 drivers. The series has been created to enable fans to continue watching Formula One races virtually despite the ongoing COVID-19 situation. The virtual races will run in place of every postponed Grand Prix starting this weekend, with the virtual Bahrain Grand Prix this Sunday the 22nd. So it means that I could actually do a review of the virtual race rather than the real one. Every subsequent race weekend will see the postponed real-world Formula One race replaced with a virtual Grand Prix, with the initiative currently scheduled to return in May. So the first asterisk there for the Formula One replaced with a virtual Grand Prix. Obviously, it's on using the 2019 Formula One game, and it doesn't have the Dutch Grand Prix, and it doesn't have the Vietnamese Grand Prix either. So those ones are going to be using different events, I think it says at the very bottom. And then the second asterisk is obviously with the current initiative scheduled to return May. We know that could change. There could be more postponements. As we move on into the further article, that didn't make sense, but as we move on in further through the article, the first race of the series will see current F1 drivers line up on the grid alongside a host of stars to be announced in due course. In order to guarantee the participants' safety at this time, each driver will join remotely, with a host broadcast live from the Gfinity Esports Arena from 8 p.m. GMT, Sunday the 22nd. Oh shoot, Sunday the 20th, that's literally 2 days. So let's move on further. We don't have to talk about university. It's about Formula One. The series will use the official Formula One 2019 PC game developed by Codemasters, and the first virtual Grand Prix will be a 50% length race of 28 laps, and the broadcast will be available on the official Formula One YouTube, Twitch and Facebook channels. Expected to run for about an hour and 30, so I guess they're going to have, there's a qualifying period where grid positions will be determined based on the driver's fastest lap time, exactly how qualifying normally runs. So quite how they will actually do the qualifying, whether it will be Q1, 2 and 3 like we normally see, or whether they'll do maybe a one-shot qualifying, or just a big 20-minute session where everyone goes out for 20 minutes, so it's not a Q1, Q2, Q3, it's literally just Q3 with everybody involved, which could make up for most of that hour and 30 there. I don't know whether they'll have like a broadcast like commentary team running it, so you could have different perspectives, different like pit cameras, and obviously the onboard cameras that they can do. This could actually be quite interesting, and the fact that it's then being streamed as well to the YouTube channels, to Twitch, to Facebook, it's all going to be like free of charge, so you don't need your Sky subscription to watch these virtual races, which will have the Formula One drivers or some of the current drivers. I will get onto that later because there is a little snag, but we'll get onto that later. That is covered in a little bit. Moving on, the series will use the official 2019. We've already got that bit. I have forgot to crop that off, already read that. Due to the wide variety of gaming skill levels amongst the drivers, game settings will be configured in such a way to encourage competitive and entertaining racing. This includes running equal car performance with car setups, reduced vehicle damage, and optional anti-lock brakes and traction control. That's quite cool, so you're not going to be able to set up your car to be they'll set up the cars, all of the cars, to be optimal to the track, but no one can have a slightly different setup to how they normally run. So if you bring in this super professional esports like Brendan Lee kind of guy, he's going to come in and have his ridiculous setup and stuff. Everyone's going to be equal, so it'll kind of be like a Red Bull Junior series where they are completely stock cars and you just race, and it will actually be kind of cool to watch. So this series is strictly for entertainment purposes to bring racing action to the fans in this unprecedented scenario the world has been affected by, with no official World Championship points up for grabs for the drivers, which, yeah, that's fair. They could still do like a little championship on the side of it, you know, just for funsies. Obviously it's not official World Championship points, but they could still do some points and see who actually does good in it. It doesn't say if the teams are like endorsing anything or going to be putting their esports drivers in place of their real drivers or things like that. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. So whether you could see some driver switching teams, maybe, probably not. But there's, so far I couldn't find anything that teams have been saying, though, anything that the teams have said about this issue, or not issue, this what do you want to call it, this release, this press release. That's still not the right word. Anyway, moving on, we've just got some quotes there from Julien Tan, the head of digital business initiatives and esports. Not going to read them, I'll just leave them up there. So I think this is a really, really cool idea that Formula One have finally jumped on. They should have jumped on it sooner, though, for could they have jumped on it sooner, though, for Australia? I don't think they could have, to be honest, because I know that a group of YouTubers, including Arav, Tiamat Marduk, and a couple other F1 drivers, ex-F1 drivers, esports racers, so I think Lando Norris was there, Gutierrez was there, Jimmy Broadbent, he's a streamer, he was there. They did that for the Australian Grand Prix, which was completely independent from this virtual Grand Prix series that has been released. So I'm not sure how that's all going to work out, because as I will move on into this next slide here, Lando Norris has tweeted, this was a little while ago, I didn't include the time that it was released, but not the Bahrain Grand Prix, Sunday the 22nd at 6 p.m, so 2 hours beforehand, 2 hours before the official virtual Grand Prix series. They are the group of YouTubers coming back again and doing not the Bahrain Grand Prix. So if you want, can watch both. You can watch not the Bahrain Grand Prix at 6 p.m. When that finishes, you can then move on over to the virtual Bahrain Grand Prix, where they're going to have, like they said, many other drivers, different people, and all sorts, which will be quite interesting to see what compare the two, maybe, or they will amalgamate the two for, what's the next race after Bahrain? Would have been China, I think. So yeah, maybe they amalgamate the two, so they no longer do not the Bahrain, not the Australian, not the Chinese Grand Prix. They just push it all together into this new virtual Grand Prix series that they've released. Yeah, overall, I think that is a cracking idea from Formula One there, that they're actually, it's something that in the Bernie Ecclestone days they just wouldn't have done. It just wouldn't have happened at all under Bernie Ecclestone, and I'm quite glad that Liberty Media have actually pushed forward with this and launched this whole virtual Grand Prix series. So it is looking like it will be very good. I will probably plan on doing a review on the actual virtual Grand Prix series, the one at 8 p.m, rather than not the Bahrain Grand Prix at 6 p.m. Just because it is the official thing, and that's what I was going to react. Yeah, that's all interesting. That's all I have for you today, guys. Just the one story. Breaking news came through this morning. Decided I've got loads of free time. I'm gonna make a video about it rather than wait a couple days and release it. So there you go. You'll be seeing more of me, and I'm enjoying it. See you guys in the next one.